Peace, family. MJ the Mastermind checking in. Again, this is a video about reality creation, law of attraction, manifestation, all of those amazing things. All right, so today we're reading back from the Book of Wisdom, my personal notes over the years. And I'm just going to pull this quote out that says, select the reality, feel good without attachment, and allow the mirror to catch up. Select the reality, feel good without attachment, and allow the mirror to catch up. Select a reality, feel good without attachment, and allow the mirror to catch up. One of the biggest problems I see with people, and through my career as a coach, is that a lot of people just don't know what they want. Okay? A lot of times we go through life and people never take the time to clarify what it is that they want in their life. And one of my quotes that I came up with a while ago that always stuck with me was, you either react to life or you create your life. Okay? Now, the average person has about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 90% of the thoughts that we have today are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. Okay? So if you're not consciously, or if you're not aware enough to actually choose the thoughts that are in alignment with the outcome that you want, then you're just going through life reacting to life. And you're just accepting whatever life throws at you. So it's very, very important to actually get clear on what it is that you want. Okay? Like, actually write it down, what you want your life to look like. Have that vision, have that picture in your mind, have that slide in your mind of what you want your reality in your life to look like ultimately. Okay? Because if you don't, you're just going to be lost. Okay? You don't know what actions, what habits, what mindset aligns with that outcome or that vision because you don't have one. Okay? So step one is, clarifying your vision and knowing exactly what you want in life. Okay? And that's what selecting a reality means. It means choosing the version of reality that you want to create within your life. Okay? Now the next step, feel good without attachment. Two videos ago, we were talking about holding the vibration and following consciousness, and the importance of just carrying the energy, the frequency, and the vibration of you loving your life. And that's what this is all about, like feeling good without attachment. What happens a lot of times for people is we get so caught up in the physical reality. We get so caught up with what the universe is reflecting back to us in physical reality. And if it's not directly our vision, then it can cause us to feel these negative emotions, right? But what you have to understand is that life is only reflecting to you currently an old frequency, an old vibration, and an old identity. Okay? So you have to allow the mirror to catch up, right? Which is the last part of this, allowing the mirror to catch up. But I want to dive deeper into feeling good. No matter what the universe may be showing you or exuding to you in physical reality, you have to continue to hold the vibration, the energy and frequency of the version of yourself that you want to become, right? And I simplified this in my I Love My Life video, whereas the best frequency that you can hold is that you love your life, right? So if you continue to play that slide or hold that visualization, that energy, that frequency of you loving your life, it's ultimately going to attract. You're going to become a magnet of things that make you love your life, ultimately. So when it says feel good without attachment, that means just hold the frequency, right? Fall in love with the process. Continue to feel good no matter what physical reality may be expressing to you. and eventually the mirror will catch up, right? And that's the last part of this. Allow the mirror to catch up, all right? Again, you have to allow, the universe has its own gestation period. Just how it takes 9 months to, for a baby to come to fruition, like the universe has its own gestation period of it putting things into alignment. It's shifting the universe to make your goals, dreams, and desires come true, right? But it takes a certain amount of time. You don't just think something, you don't just align with something and it immediately happens, unless the universe has put things in place for that to happen, all right? But what you have to understand is that you have to continue to hold the frequency, the energy, and the vibration, even if the universe isn't responding to you how you would want it to. Okay, so continue to feel good, continue to take the necessary actions and the necessary steps on a day-to-day basis, and it's universal law that the mirror will eventually catch up and the universe will start to reflect what's in alignment with that frequency, energy, and vibration. But you have to be patient, okay? You have to be patient and allow the mirror to catch up, right? And when we talk about the mirror is just the universe reflecting to you what your inner identity, frequency, and vibration is ultimately, okay? Now, I'm not one of those people that just says, hey, just lay in bed, feel good, and everything will be okay. No, you still have to take the necessary actions. You still have to take the necessary steps every single day, right? And that goes back to conscious congruency that we talked about. And conscious congruency means like you holding the frequency, energy, and vibration. But when that guidance comes from your higher self, when those thoughts come, it's actually living in alignment with that and taking the necessary actions, the necessary steps for you to be able to line up with that lifeline, for you to be lined up with those results, those outcomes that you ultimately want. All right. So again, select the reality, feel good without attachment, and allow the mirror to catch up. So like for me, a few years ago, I was living back home with my parents. I had moved back on with my parents. I had a real estate deal that fell through. I was in the market to get a triplex in my first deal. So I was going for a super big home run on that first deal, and the real estate deal ended up falling through. And I ended up moving back home with my parents. And, one of my goals was to live in a high rise, with amazing views. And, when I was a kid, my father had a friend that her name was Mrs. Leff, and, she was a multi-millionaire. And, she invited us up to her penthouse. She would take us to like some of the nicest restaurants in Palm Beach, Florida. And, ever since a kid, when I, got invited to her penthouse, it just opened my eyes of a completely different lifestyle. Here I was in this amazing penthouse that was customized. Her favorite color was purple, so the rugs was purple. She had completely customized the penthouse, and it just inspired me to live that kind of lifestyle. And I would visualize myself in a penthouse in a high rise and having an amazing view of the city, and I would just hold that frequency. I selected that reality, and I felt good without attachment. I had the image on my desktop screensaver. I had a picture on my phone. And then, a few months later, I scaled my first business, and I was able to do it. I moved to Houston, Texas, got my first high rise, amazing views. And, fast forward, like I haven't not lived in a high rise since, pretty much, right? So now I'm in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. As you can see, I got a amazing view from my balcony. You can't really see the whole thing, but I just go on to say that because it's like I selected my reality, I held the frequency, and I took the necessary action steps, right? And I allowed my version of reality to eventually catch up, okay? I allowed the mirror to catch up eventually, and, living in a high rise with amazing views is just a standard now. It's just a natural part of my life, okay? So I just tell that story to tell you guys, it doesn't matter like where you are currently. You just have to stick to these laws. You just have to stick to these principles and select the reality that you want. hold that frequency, feel good without attachment, and allow the mirror to catch up. All right. So, man, I hope that this was valuable to you. You know, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. You know, it helps me out. And, you know, leave a comment of like what your number one takeaway was. And yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep these videos coming. You know, this is really me just pulling out a quote and elaborating on it. So I really like to do these one take videos. You know, I'm not a fan of like editing videos and doing all that. That's just not the place I'm in right now. I just rather one take it, put the video on, talk to the world and cut it. It's just so much easier for me. It's just so much in alignment. So I hope these one take videos, no cuts, no edits, you know, adds value to you all. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, y'all. I'm just gonna keep providing more value, either from my personal notes, things that I'm reading, things that I'm learning, so that, you know, I can help continue to raise the consciousness, the frequency, and the vibration of everyone who watches my videos. All right? Peace, y'all. Y'all have an amazing week. Much love, much peace, much abundance. MJ the Mastermind checking out.